If as a fashion designer you've not learned anything from the ongoing saga online, then gather here, because I'm going to be telling you things I've learned and things I feel like every growing fashion designer should know relating to what's happening. Welcome to my channel. If you're just seeing me for the first time, my name is AJ. In this channel, I share everything fashion, fashion design business, just a safe space you would like to be in as a fashion designer. The first thing I've learned so far is the importance of having business structure as a fashion designer. Prior to this time, I used to feel like I have a business structure. But with everything going on, I had to access myself that, are you sure you really have a business structure? There are a few things that I would like to state that were my realization points that I didn't have a concrete business structure. The first one was customer buying experience. I had to look into that, and I told myself that it's okay for you as a fashion designer to have like a head policy, because I noticed that I had a head policy, but it's also important that you put it into writing, you put it into contract, into copies, documents. Documents was what I wanted to say, not contracts, into documents, so that you can also share with your customers things like return policies. All those kind of things are what needs to be in place as a business. Also, I told myself that even as a growing brand, I'm not too small to have the structures put in place, because we are praying for favor, right? We are praying for breakthrough, for God to expand the business. And as God is answering the prayers, He's going to bring in new clients, going to bring in bigger clients. So we don't have to wait till that time that we feel like, yes, I'm big. We can start now, start putting these policies in place, like that, one step at a time. So the first thing I learned is my business needs to have a structure. So your growing business needs to have a structure. The second thing I learned is taking every customer's order as important. I know so many people were really amazed, like, why would a big brand do things like that? Why would they prefer, or why would they give more priority to celebrities and not care about the common man? But the truth is, one way or the other, we all do it in our small businesses. And it's the character that you've built as a small business that would progress when you're now a bigger business. So now that this is happening, I feel like this is a wake-up call for every one of us small businesses to start putting things in check. So every customer's order is important, whether the person is a celebrity, whether the person is not. Every one of them should be taken as important and should be should be done with care and attention. The third thing I learned is I need to go back to the basic. There was a time when so many things we have now were not available, and we were able to still do the work. We're still able to make perfect outfits. So what I learned from another thing I learned from this whole saga is, as fashion designers, we need to go back to the basics. I know so many things have been put in place to help our work easier. That is fine, but we still need to remember our knowledge of the past. There was a lady that came out and was saying that she doesn't know why fashion designers don't want to sew anymore. I listened to that video, and funny thing is that so many fashion designers were being defensive in the comment section. But when I see comments, like when I see people come out to say things like that, I don't go into defense mode immediately. I first try to get where's this person coming from, and what's this person's experience, because she's a customer, she's a fashion designer's customer. So she said that fashion designers don't want to sew anymore, and it was the case of hemming gum. She said the the fashion designer put hemming gum in her clothes so many places, and she didn't even sew it. She just put the hemming gum and ironed it and delivered the dress. Now fashion designers were being defensive, like, oh, she didn't put enough. Some were saying, how many times do you want to wear the clothes? Or some were saying you need to press it again. But if if a customer is coming to give us a dress, they need a dress, then that means we have to give it perfection. We have to do our best. We don't need to make an outfit and we're expecting the customer to be pressing hemming gum every time. I don't know if it makes sense, or maybe I'm just the one being overly overly too much, or I don't know. But I hope you get what I'm trying to say. There was a time when there was no hemming gum. Now I'm not even saying that we shouldn't use hemming gum, but it makes more sense that when you use the hemming gum, you tack either tack some parts or you run a stitch across it. Okay, so we're going back to the basics in the sense that there were things we did back then. There were foundational knowledge we had about fashion design that were concrete. So even as these new improvements are coming in, we should not forget the basics. We should not forget the foundation for making a perfect garment. We can we can improvise with these things, but let's still know that the main focus is giving our clients a perfect garment. What's made me tell myself that I need to go back to the basics as a fashion designer was when one of the ladies in the recent saga said that the fashion designer used glue to to put the applique on her dress, and the glue lines were so visible and it just made the outfit very tacky. So even though what we do normally is to be defensive in the comment section, right? That's what we do. But I still think we need to talk to ourselves. And as a fashion designer here, I'm also talking to us. We need to talk to ourselves. We need to go back to the basics. Basically, back then, instead of glue, what we used then was needle and thread. We take our time, we tack it. If that was what was done on that dress, I don't think the lady will have that complaint. So this is me calling us out. So this is not a fashion. This is not a customer right now. This is a fashion designer calling ourselves out. We should do better. Okay, so I learned that I should go back to the basics. So you should go back to the basics. As all these improvements are coming, they should not take away the focus, which is to give our customers a perfect garment. Okay. The next thing I learned is the necessity of contracts. Now there can be verbal contracts, there can be written contracts. Written contract is the best in most cases. But even if there is no written contract, I still feel like there should be verbal contracts or verbal contract that can be recorded for reference purposes. So the reason why I'm saying this was the case of the fashion designer that had a collaborative job, and she went ahead to document the process, which was normal. I'm working, I need to document it. And later she was told to take down the videos, that it's not her. I feel that case is very biased and sad. But she was pressured to take down those videos and everything. And she was saying she was not going to do that because they didn't have that kind of conversation. So that whole case made me realize that there is a need for contracts, verbal contracts or written contracts. No matter what, there are things that need to be talked about, especially when it has to do with collaboration. Okay, especially when it has to do with collaboration. I was talking to a friend and I said, even though looking at it realistically, if a fashion designer gives you a job, okay, I have the client, so my client said I should make this dress, but looking at my time frame, I don't have the time to make it. So you make it, I'm going to pay you. Realistically, as if I'm the one getting that job from that fashion designer, it's not under my name. I don't know if maybe it's just me. There's something called breach of contract. So even though there was no contract signed, and maybe I should not just go there. I don't know. Maybe I should not just go there. But I'm saying this because for I've worked in a fashion company, and even though I brought the idea, even though it was my process, everything, because I was under that company, so there was already like a contract on my head. So even though I brought the idea, there was no way I could say it was mine because I was working with that company. So I feel like if you apply that to cases like that, you can then say that it was not your client. You were given this job by another fashion designer. So it's wrong that you should go ahead to say it is yours. But the reason why I would not apply I would not apply that as the right thing for that situation is I was not there when they were talking. I was not there when the work came in, what kind of conversations they had or anything. I was not there. So, but this is me saying that if you're getting a collaborative job as a fashion designer from another fashion designer, you should have a contract. If you should have a contract. If you don't have this understanding I have, then you should talk about it. Get to hear the other person's view. Can I document it? Can I take this as my own work, or is it under your name? Okay, we should have this kind of conversations. It's going to help us. It's going to help us to maintain trust for that time and even later. Okay, so have a verbal or a written contract going forward. This will help you. Another thing I would like to say is this is not me learning, but this is something I saw, and I saw it's a wrong thing to do. So I just want to address it for us because this is our fashion space. So I would like to talk to us about this. It is very wrong that you go under a fashion designer's post as a fashion designer to advertise your brand. It is very wrong. I don't know I don't know how we see these things, but it is very wrong that you make a post about your designs, then I come under that post and advertise mine, telling your audience that I have it way cheaper. It is a very, like, sorry to say, but it is a gutter behavior. It is a very bad thing to do. So Also, with this current saga, or the saga that just passed, I want to assume that it has passed, and these brands were being dragged, and other fashion designers were were in the comment section saying things like, "I make it better. I'm not going to stress you. I'm not going to mess up. I don't know if I can use that word here. I'm not going to disappoint you. I mean, I'm going to meet your demands right on time." The thing you should know as a growing business is that every level you get to has its own orders. You cannot you cannot know that you'll do better when you get to that stage. That is why now, instead of you trying to think that you can do better, you need to start building those structures. You need to start putting those things in place so that will help you when you get to that level. Some of us are not ready for the fame that we crave. That's just the truth. Some of us are not ready for the fame that we crave. There are things you should ask yourself before you start feeling like once you start getting 1,000, 2,000 orders, we can meet up. Ask yourself things like, what what documents do you have? What customers buying experience? Do you even have a portfolio? These are things you need to start. Does your business even have an invoice? When your customer asks you, can I have an invoice? Does your business have an invoice? Does your business have its own account? Not your personal account, your business account. Is your business registered? There are things that we should ask ourselves. We should not just feel like because this person is on the spotlight for the wrong, I know I will do better. Okay, we'll be able to manage high demands. 1,000 orders is not 100 orders, oh. And I'm saying 1,000 orders from different people. These people have like hundreds of thousands of followers, so you know that they have so many orders coming in. So instead of us behaving like we know better or we can do better, let's try to learn from all these things happening, and then know that we have work to do as growing businesses. We have work to do. Okay, so disclaimer, if this video in any way triggered you, I'm sorry, that was not the intention. It was more about making us know, or just talking to ourselves basically, because this is a fashion design specific community, so it's just about us talking to ourselves and addressing ourselves, calling ourselves to order, and also helping us to know things we need to do going forward as growing businesses. So I hope you've learned something. I hope you've gathered one or two information from everything I've said. I mean, thank you so much for watching this video. I would really love to hear from you in the comment section. What have you learned from this ongoing drama online? Last year it was Heaven Does. This year started with fashion designers. So it is a call for us that we need to do better, okay? So what have you learned so far? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you in the comment section. Let's make this very, very interactive. Thank you so much for watching this video once again. If you're new here, do well to subscribe to this YouTube channel, like this video, share with your fashion friends and community. Until next time, stay happy, stay blessed, and stay marvelous. Bye.